Welcome to the official Season 13 off-meta tier list. For the past 2 years, I've been interviewing and analysing Master, Grandmaster and Challenger off-meta players, and we're going to put them all into an updated tier list for this season. Starting off with the worst builds, and throughout the video the picks will get better and better, with some new surprises thrown in and updated builds, until we crown a completely new, strongest off-meta pick, one that is easy to learn and guaranteed to get you LP. Starting with the new worst off-meta pick, that crown goes to Yuumi top lane. Something I'm sure we're all happy about, the cat is dead and we can all stop playing against her. And this makes it even more impressive that someone managed to hit Grandmaster tier with it. Every pick on this list is from a Master Plus player who's put in the work to prove it's viable. But there is one pick that's too powerful even for this tier list. A pick that lets you play competitive games at any rank and win cash prizes. And that is Repeat.gg, today's sponsor. Repeat is a tournament site that allows you to compete against players from all across the world for real cash prizes every day. It's super easy to use and you don't have to install anything. Simply click the link in the description, create an account, and then link your league username. Repeat.gg will then track your scores using the league client, and these go automatically onto the leaderboard. There's a ton of tournaments to compete in. These are the ones I'm playing in right now. As you can see, you can take part in multiple at the same time, and all of these have real cash prizes, and I didn't pay a single thing to join them, even having special tournaments for supports, so you only have to play against your own role. The scoring system is based on your own performance, so even if you have a bad team, you can still earn points, unlike in ranked. It's great for both competitive and casual players as it only counts your best games. So you can spam a load of games in a single day and win a prize, or just play 10 games in a month and still have a chance. So if you want to compete for cash instead of just LP, or just play for fun, click the link in the description and sign up. The RIP tier, save for the interesting off-meta picks that Riot have nerfed a bit too hard. AP Rakan mid and Aphelios top, they're high damage carries that unfortunately no longer have their high damage. Singed Yuumi bot lane and Kiana Yuumi, they used to be great duos, but now half of the duo is dead. Wukong support, an interesting pick that was killed by the Stridebreaker nerfs. Yi mid, the low elo champion that currently even sucks in low elo. And the trio of AD Thresh top, AD Shyvana and AP Gangplank. All fun ideas, but they struggle to impact games. D tier, these are some of the biggest changes for Season 13. Some picks that work, and some things that are dangerous for your LP. Blitzcrank jungle, a good idea, but the buffs never quite worked. Orianna support and Karthus support, neither of them can keep up in the Enchanter meta, with our Karthus player even falling all the way out of Challenger to Diamond due to this. Zeri jungle is in this tier because Riot simply can't balance this champion. Right now she's not very good in solo queue. AP Tahm Kench mid, another off-meta buff with good damage, but his lack of wave clear and team fighting makes him limited. And last but not least, Heimerdinger jungle. This pick was never good, even our player who managed to hit Master with it said it sucked. I'm just shocked it even worked at all. On to C tier, reserved for some hidden gems, and some absolute griefing picks. From now on, we'll start the tier with the weakest pick and go up to the strongest. The worst picks in this tier are probably Smite Scion support, TF support, AP Wukong mid, Rengar mid, and Lucian jungle. These are all very high risk, but some insane players still manage to make them work. Lilia top, a surprising pick for this tier. She's a very fast and fun top laner, but she is hard to play in solo queue due to her reliance on teamwork. Tank Vigar support is a Korean specialty. It's viable in pro play, but its damage in solo queue is maybe a bit low. AP Twitch top, one of the only roaming top laners that still works. Akshan jungle, Teemo jungle, and ADTF jungle. I call these 3 junglers that theoretically make sense. Having invisibility for ganks, setting up mushrooms all around the map, and a global ultimate to set up ganks. But I think my ranked teammates still hate me. Next we have some picks that are all 50-50 coin flip type champions. From Talon support who can 1v9 a game, to Maokai mid with new Radiant Virtue. Sometimes they will be super good, but other times they will do nothing and lose, and so that's why they're in C tier. But now the picks are actually getting quite good. Taric jungle, underrated damage and utility. Xin Zhao mid, an underrated cheese pick. Urgot support, a really good bruiser who counters tank supports. Lethality Vi mid, a great counter pick for immobile mages. Crit Aatrox jungle, an actual 1v9 carry but very hard to play. And finally for this tier, Gale Force Crit Garen, probably the best in this tier, hiding in bushes and jumping out for a huge surprising burst. Again, all of these picks work, but they're nothing compared to the actual meta breakers coming later on. B tier, these are good picks that can match the meta and even beat it, but sometimes they also int and lose the game by themselves. themselves. A pick like full tank Vi jungle and Jhin support. These are things we now see in pro play, so of course they're pretty good picks. Or Bel'Veth top, an underrated 1v1ing top laner who can snowball out of control with Rift Herald. I have some bad news. Rakan top, Janna top, and Taric top lane. You thought they were gone, Riot thought they were gone, but really they were just hiding, now no longer playing with Smite. There are multiple challenges on every server picking these and flying under the radar. Smite top lane is dead, but Exhaust Janna and Ghost Taric top are still thriving, roaming around the map and causing chaos. I'm not sure if this is good or bad news, but they're not even the best roaming top on this list. Aurelion Sol top is here as he was just reworked. He's a bit hard to rate, but he is very strong right now. AP Narmid and AP Rengar. If I'm honest, AD might be the better version for both of them, but seeing this guy play Nar mid lane made it look really good, and he did have some cool tricks with Everfrost. AP Rengar is surprisingly better than last season, and so it's now a good secondary build for the champion. Tank Quinn support is quite similar. Usually it goes Aftershock and tank, but with the new AD support meta, a full lethality Quinn build might be even better. AP Kai'Sa top, lethality Fiora, and Shen mid are all picks that increase the impact of the champion compared to normal, from bursting enemies a full screen away, to easier 1v1s on Fiora, and Shen getting easier roams from mid lane. They all improve the meta some way, but do have their own new weaknesses. Ornn support, a reliable tanky engager, but quite immobile and thus requires good macro. AP Ivern mid, quite good with the new items, and a more damage based build. But you can also still build full supportive, both of them work. Lysandra support and Evelynn support. These are picks that can carry team fights. You just need to be very careful early game. Tanky Kha'Zix mid and lethality Poppy jungle. New builds for some classic picks that funnily are swapping their jobs around. The goal of both is to increase your impact, whether it's making you safer or do more damage. Let's rapid fire through the rest of this tier to get to the really good picks. Illaoi and Gragas mid. Lots of really cool tricks and good damage. This is probably their best lane. Lethality Yorick top. This was from an OCE challenger, but he just hit challenger EU West with it, and it's still working great. Lee Sin mid recently got buffed, and a new Hydra build makes it actually good again. Lethality Urgot and Trundle, both buying Prowler's Claw to fix their mobility issues. Their burst damage is shocking. Pyke Talia bot lane. After the Talia rework, this lane looked like it was going to be ruined, but it's actually just as good. Very strong snowballing, and our first great duo on this list. Shaco support and Vayne mid. Both of them have great scaling and are very annoying to play against. Shaco support even now has a full AD build you can go, for more of an assassin playstyle. Ahri support, a mobile playmaker that also has good damage. Kayn top and Nasus jungle, scaling picks that are working very well at the moment. Nasus jungle especially is very underrated in lower elos. And at the top of this tier we have Alistar top, a pick we covered over a year ago and it's now being picked by pro players. This tank build makes him a viable pick and even a carry, but adding some AP can't hurt. Now on to A tier. These are some of the best picks not only for off meta but in the whole game. There are a lot of new picks in this tier. One classic, Ivern Rengar bot lane. This as well as Lee Sin Taric bot lane are two of the best duo lanes in the whole game, being very hard to kill and also having insane synergy. There is simply no reason to play marksman in solo queue when these picks destroy the meta AD carries. AD Akali, another pick that might even be better than the meta build, thanks to Ravenous Hydra. She gets much more tanky and becomes harder to catch, still doing really good damage. Another bot lane destroyer, Mordekaiser AD carry, a recent discovery that ruins AD carries lives by taking them into the death realm for easy 1v1s. There's no reason to play bot lane when you can just win it with one button. Ziggs bot lane is here as he just fits the meta perfectly at the moment, and his win rate is very high with new archangels in his build. Echo support, one of my favourites, super hard to kill, an annoying high damage snowballing support, of course being played in EUS Master. Pantheon AD carry joins the off meta bot laners, a very safe pick that sort of simplifies your role. You're still a late game DPS carry, but you also have more utility and safety, so it's much less stressful. Kennen mid is quite strong right now and even getting buffed in the next patch. The champion itself is quite off meta, not really being picked in any role, but mid Kennen is a great team fighter and really satisfying to learn. Kled mid has shot up the tier list thanks to a new Bruiser and Eclipse build. Korean solo queue players are loving this pick that tanks mid laners damage and then ults around the map to start fights. Elise mid, slightly lower than last year due to the meta, but still a great solo killer and dive champion. Elise right now is being played in pro play in the jungle, and when you see that happening, you know the champion is completely overpowered. Next, Draven top lane. Maybe a surprising pick for A tier, but a new Korean Grandmaster player has brought this pick back. His Draven kills you before you can do anything, and then goes for a Kraken Slayer build to constantly outdamage the enemy top. But we do do have a special top laner in the top 5 that's even better, Nunu mid and Nico support, both very effective AP bursters. Nunu mid was the number 1 off-meta pick last year, but due to nerfs he's fallen off a bit. However, he's still very playable and has some really cool tricks. Nico support has very good 2v2 in lane, and a huge AoE ult for teamfights. Next, AD Sylas mid and AP Sylas support. Two very different picks, with AD Sylas using his passive auto attacks as his main damage, having a special on-hit type build to enable it. It's a great option if your team has too much AP, and you actually don't lose any damage overall. Sylas support is also a burst damage champion, but he can steal so many useful ultimates, it makes him really effective as a support. Shaco mid lane, in my opinion the best place to pick the champion. He has safe laning and also a high income to make your damage even more impactful, with some new mind game tricks for mid lane. The best of meta duo in the whole game, Kindred Taric. This pick is now legitimately pro play viable, with Kindred and Taric ult having amazing synergy. If they both press ult together, you get 6.5 seconds of full invulnerability, completely broken in 2v2s and teamfights. Tryndamere mid. With the recent crit changes and Navori becoming very strong, Tryndamere is a menace in any role, and mid is super good for diving squishy mages and farming your power spikes very quickly. Soraka mid is the opposite, a champion you can never kill, constantly healing and ulting to help her teammates. In this role she has extra gold to become an ambulance for her team, making sure no one ever dies in teamfights. A new support at the top of this list, Anivia. Right now with the Rod of Ages build, she's become strangely good, with a stun, utility and also her wall to trap and outplay immobile AD carries. I would not be surprised to see her in pro play sometime soon. Rek'Sai top lane is here because it's a very powerful 1v1 champion that can set up a whole tunnel network to get back to lane. Building full AD and having invulnerability on ultimate means unstoppable domination in this lane. AP Varus, mid or AD carry. Funnily, this pick is now a meta build, maybe even the best meta build thanks to his Blight passive stacks dealing AP max health damage, so even tanks can be one-shot with his ult. Bard top is also here, the best roaming top in the whole game. This is a pick we see in high elo on a few different servers now. Pro players completely hate it, but it still works. With incredible roaming and infinite stacking with chimes, I'm happy he's still around. Gale Force Darius jungle, one of the fastest jungle clears in the whole game thanks to his bleed damage. And now with Gale Force his mobility issues are completely fixed. This is a good pick for all elos, but he's a top jungler in low elo, and he's very rewarding to play. Tank Kog'Maw sticks at the top of the list with a new build. I think I'm partially biased towards tank AD carries, but you can't underestimate him, drawing a ton of pressure, surviving and then turning around to carry the fight. Along with that, tank Mordekaiser jungle. It was a pick we found way before it became meta, but it's also now really falling out of the meta after it got nerfed. Personally, I think players react way too much to Riot's patch notes, and you shouldn't be listening to pro players that pick the same champion every game. Mord jungle is still really good, and this tank build is even better. Just run at enemies, and even if you miss all of your abilities, you still kill them. I've also put Sion jungle here. His ultimate turns him into a ganking monster, who also gets free health from jungle camps, becoming a huge tank with very little effort. As a tanky frontliner with huge engage and good damage, you can't go wrong with this pick in any team comp. The top of A tier I am putting Jhin top. Yes, this sounds stupid. This is a champion that the Master Player and I have had surprisingly good success with. His poke and utility is just so high compared to most ranged tops. It's a high pressure style that just pokes and pokes, then gets ult and snipes the enemy top under tower, even having traps for more safety. You're so hard to ever touch. But now, S tier, the top 5 off meta picks right now. Honourable mention to Heimerdinger support, a pick we found over a year before the pros did. Again, he's still very good as support even after the nerfs. He is free LP. but I didn't want him to take up a slot in the top 5, as the others are completely new off-meta picks that I love. One pick I'm actually going to put at number 6 is Ashe top. Again, this sounds stupid, and I don't recommend it for all players to try out, but I can't believe how good this pick actually is. A player even hit Challenger with it. The reason it works so well is Ashe's slowing auto attacks. Every time she hits someone, she CCs them. No one can ever get in range of her, also having her E to scout the enemy jungle, ult to set up ganks, and ghost to kite. She is oppressive and weirdly strong. But onto the picks I actually recommend. Number 5, Akshan support. In a meta filled with AD support champions, Akshan can match their damage, beat their mobility, have permanent invisibility for roams, and even has a revive for his teammates to change the outcome of games. This will be picked in pro play, I'd almost guarantee it, and hopefully they can show how strong this revive passive is. Number 4, AP Sejuani mid. A pick with surprisingly high poke damage in lane, easily proccing electrocute using her W. Enemies never expect your early poke damage on this champion, and they can even die when Sejuani dashes onto them at level 3, but then at level 6 she gets her main kill tool, a long-range, high-damage ult, CCing them and following up with a dash and burst damage. It's a snowballing pick that easily kills one person every time her ult is up, all of this thanks to her little-known high AP scalings. Number 3, AP Zac mid. This is a pick that Caps gets most of the credit for, but it was actually played in US Challenger before him last year with a full AP build. Zac is one of the best mid laners, junglers, and even top laners right now, and when you see Zac mid's damage you can see why. With this huge amount of CC and burst, it's really hard to ever shut him down. Number 2, AD carry Mundo. Hear me out. If you're a meta marksman with a meta support, then Mundo comes into your lane with a Soraka, a Sona, or any other enchanter, or even a tank support to be honest. Suddenly your damage becomes useless. You can't poke them, you can't fight, you're just tickling the enemy Mundo. And then he gets level 6. He exhausts you and sprints at you with an anti-CC shield. You stood no chance, dying to his high damage cleavers, and Mundo is now winning lane. This pick is really brutal for any AD carry to play against, and with a good support like Soraka, it becomes overpowered. S+ tier, the best off-meta pick right now. I've saved one special pick for its own tier, a pick that was recently hugely buffed, which was sort of by accident. It is Crit Olaf Top. We found this from a challenger player named Rank 1 Olaf. Not just the king of off-meta, but also the king of pentakills. In every elo from Iron to Challenger this pick works. And now with a new build of Infinity Edge 2nd, it's even better. Riot changed this item to only require 40% crit to work, in an attempt to make AD carry stronger. But of course, this only made Olaf able to kill them even faster. Olaf's unstoppable ult is now infinite, getting longer with each auto attack on an enemy champion, so he can quite literally sprint through an enemy team with no way to CC him, and enough healing in the build to stop him from ever dying. This pick is already so good in solo queue as Olaf himself is already an OP top laner who wins 1v1. So you get an easy lane, buy some crit items, and then take advantage of disorganized solo queue players to win fights by yourself. This strategy is truly mind-blowing to watch and completely game-breaking even before it was buffed. So thank you to Riot for buffing it again. If you want a full guide on any of these picks, there's a video for each one of them on my channel, including how to play them like a master, grandmaster, or challenger player. And if you want to try them, why not also join a repeat.gg tournament for free and win some cash prizes while you do it. Link to join is in the description, completely free and no downloads required. Thanks so much for watching.